are we? Listening and thinking caps on.
Yes.
Pot loaded?
Yes.
Check. All right. Who's ready for a Hot Box show? Are we recording? Should check that.
Yeah, we're recording.
I have a feeling this might be a good one. Might want to record this one. All right, we ready? Everyone here? Good?
I'm ready.
And podcast time. Check. Are we good?
Yeah,
check.
We're good.
Okay.
On the seventh day,
The terrors of tripping on pot.
Be there! Scour the spaceways! Explore vast alien worlds!
Tin right here contains the whole rigmarole.
I used to smoke about an ounce of hash every day. And it made me go a little bonkers.
Maybe if I occupy his mind with more duties, I can control his space.
Hi. Big fat
Hi.
doobies.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Everyone, hello, welcome. It's Tuesday, April 5th, 2011, episode 72 of the Hot Box. My name is Matt, and this is Sandy. Hello, Sandy.
Hello, Matt.
How are you?
I am all right.
Tuesday,
It
Saturday,
is.
7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern, hotboxpodcast.com/live, 2 HD cams. Check it.
Yay.
Beautiful. And you can call us live, 406-204-4687, of course. Lots of stuff to get to. Actually kind of shifting a little this episode because we're pretty much at a standstill.
We're just waiting kind of right now. Waiting and
yeah.
watching and seeing what
As
happens.
far as Montana goes.
Yeah.
We do the show live, Kalispell, Montana, so we usually tend to focus there and then move outward if we have time lately because of the raids, because of the repeal. Been a lot of focus here, which is good. And also, you can catch us. The normal live network launched yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
And we're a part of that. So there's a cool map. I'll try and post it in the forums about of the U.S. and where all the shows are. We have the U.S. on lock.
Only
and
Montana show.
If each show focused inward and then moved outward, like we have the whole U.S. just handled. So lots of great coverage. Definitely marijuanapodcast.com. We're on there. Check that out. And then, like I said, the normal live show. Check that out. We'll post the schedule in hotboxpodcast.com/forums. We'll put all that stuff in there. So check it out.
Yep.
Also, you notice there were raids. There were protests, vigils. We took a trip to Missoula.
Yes, we did.
We covered the Kalispell one. And I've been sitting on that footage, and I finally got off my behind and found time, and it's up.
Woohoo.
We are so proud to present you, Matt, Sandy, Hot Box Podcast, with a 30-minute documentary starting out in Kalispell. Some footage of everyone there, talking to some people there, talking to the news. Then we go to Missoula.
Yes.
Some footage of that. You can kind of compare and contrast a college town to our town.
Yep.
And then some interviews there. And, yeah.
It
about
turned out really well.
I like
Thank
it.
you
I
very
like it.
much for your work.
Nice HD 30-minute documentary. So you guys check that out. Spread it to all your friends, definitely. YouTube.com/HotboxPodcast. That's our YouTube account. And we can have videos longer than 10 minutes. So check it. No more having to be all tightly constrained. This is a documentary.
Yay.
This is the Hot Box first documentary.
First.
Coming
yes.
soon this summer, the Hot Box presents their first major motion picture. It started off with a plant. No, it started off with a seed.
A seed.
But yeah, you can just kind of... The video's cool because you get a really good overall feel of what the people felt in regards to the federal government coming in and trampling all over states' rights and just raiding. Still charges pressed? No, not yet.
Not that
Interesting.
I've seen.
Okay. I mean, hey, take your time by all means. It's not like you stole my shit. Pfft. Not nice, feds. Not nice. So, again, make sure if you have a YouTube account, like it, rate it, subscribe to it, get that thing up there, search for it, all that. Be our friend, subscribe. YouTube.com/HotboxPodcast. The other thing I want to mention, this weekend, Garden City Expo.
Yep, Missoula.
Super. Super excited for that.
University of Montana in the ballroom.
In the ballroom.
Saturday and Sunday.
That's right. We're going to be April 9th and 10th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. A weekend of medical cannabis education. If you're listening live right now in the chat, there's the link to the Facebook group for this event. It's going to be a good time. We're going to be there. Ed Rosenthal's going to be there.
Yes, he's going to have some classes.
He's got his Let's Get Growing Saturday beginner class from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. with break. That's $50. Sunday intermediate advanced class 10 a.m. 2 p.m. with break. That's $75. Both classes for the low, low price of $100. Call 406-274-0385 for tickets. 406-274-0385 and get your tickets. There's also, it's not just a paid thing, it's free to the general public. On Saturday, over 50 exhibitors from many different businesses in the cannabis industry, medical,
We
all
will
up
be
on
there
it.
too.
Will be there. There's panel discussions,
We will be recording those.
current legislation, information regarding federal raids with Ed Doctor of Kush Magazine, Chris Lindsay of Lindsay Law, Kate Rose Habib from Cannabinalysis. I love that name. Cannabinalysis, thank you. Laboratories, Katrina Farnham from Garden Mother Herbs, Ed Rosenthal, of course, Quick Trading Company, and John Masterson from the Montana Normal. Educational speakers all about extracting cannabis into butters and oils. Dr. Christensen talks about the benefits of medical cannabis. An Ask Ed with Ed Rosenthal, Q&A. That's going to be awesome. Ethics, quality of care, and then a discussion about the future of legalization with John Masterson. So that's all happening Saturday. And then Sunday,
That's
a whole
an
nother.
action-packed day.
I know. We're going to be so
And
busy.
then there's more?
We're going to be running around like nuts. Yeah. And then there's more. Sunday, there'll be attorneys, more talks, the talk from the Cannabinalysis, Montana Botanical Analysis, demystifying the science behind cannabis. And Dr. Rose, our friend, is going to be talking about medibles and quantification, how to dose and all that stuff. Hopefully we can get her on the show while we're there. We're going to be doing a show. We're going to be doing it live. It's going to be super awesome. And yeah, I am reading the ads because you know what, Jimmy? They actually gave us something. They gave us a free table. So I am going to read the ads. Are you going? I hope I'll see you there. It's going to be a party. I have a feeling. 406-274-0385. Call Logan. Get your stuff hooked up. It's going to be great. And hey, Tara, Sunny Days Emporium, she's going to be there.
Yep.
Will you bring me a nice, I don't know if you're listening or watching, but like about that tall and just like beautiful glass. I need a new one. So just we'll see you there and it'll be a great time. Yeah.
I'm excited.
We'll be
I think
recording,
it
we'll
is
be
gonna good.
streaming, we'll be photographing, interviewing on
We
the spot.
We will.
So we'll be leaving, I think, Friday after the jam hole.
Yes.
And we'll get there. Got to be there super early Saturday. And yeah, hope to see you all there.
Our setup of a booth is a little more time consuming than the average booth setup.
a bit.
Ours requires wires.
Especially depending on what kind of capability you'd like this booth to have. Do you want it to stream live or just record or just, audio, video?
And of
what do
course,
you want?
I'm sitting there watching Matt do everything. Just ask, like, once in a while
Plug and play.
Once in a while, he'll shove a cord in my direction and be like, can you pull this through here and plug it in there or
Thank
something?
you.
But that's about as technical as I get.
That works. So, where should we start first?
Well, would you like to start with butter?
Yeah, let's switch it up. We've been focusing quite a bit on legislation and law lately, and I think some of us have maybe lost sight of what's important. That is
negative and stressful stuff.
Yeah, let's just set all that stupid BS to the side. We know we're smoking pot right now. We're not dying. We're cool. Okay?
Yeah.
It came across the radar the other day that a cool need to know in the grow technique if you're going to be cooking with cannabis is how to make cannabina butter. Cannabina butter.
Yes.
So,
and making butter is actually, I think, a lot easier than most people think. I mean, you do need to be careful but it's not something that is necessarily the most time-consuming thing you could have to do. The easiest way to make butter to start out with is I usually try to keep it to 1 ounce to 1 pound of butter. That way it's really easy for you to break down the potency in your recipe. You can get a good idea of about how much is in each cookie or brownie. Or if you just put the whole damn pound in something, you know there's a full ounce in that.
You know it's going to be good.
Right.
Trust.
So you need to make sure you have cheesecloth. That's another very important
cheesecloth. Check.
1 ounce of dried leafy bud matter. And a pound of butter and a saucepan.
How much good stuff would you get after you decarboxylate for a minute? Or do you do that when you actually bake the goods?
Well, what happens is when you're melting it down, you're not cooking out the THC. It's mixing in with the fat because THC is only soluble in fats and oils. You can't mix a bunch of buds into water and have THC water.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. You have to have some kind of a fatty substance that it can cling to. And then when you cook it, you are activating that THC whenever you
put it in heat.
Right. So you could eat the butter and get high off of that also. And so there's actually patients that I know that have made butter and then toast, and they'll put it on their toast in the morning and eat it that way. So as long as it's been activated by heat, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Usually ingesting it then is, fine.
Good to go. Yeah. Just make sure you don't cook it too long because you will break it down after a while.
Right, and so what you're going to want to do is you want to take a saucepan. You want to make sure it's a good size saucepan, obviously, and you're going to put water in there. It doesn't matter how much you put in. You just want to make sure you put in enough to keep all of your leafy substance at least 1.5 inches or more away from the bottom of the pan.
Right.
So you bring the water to a boil, you put in your butter, let it melt, and then you're going to turn the heat down and mix in your leaves. You stir it and let it simmer on low for 3 hours at least. And you just want to stir it once in a while. You don't have to continuously stir it.
Right. You just don't want it burning at the bottom.
Right.
Like
and
noodles.
You don't want it all just heating up in one spot. You want it to get mixed around. So after that's been simmering for about 3 hours, you're going to have a really kind of a dirty water, tarry looking green goo just sitting in there, right? This is where the cheesecloth comes in. You're going to take the cheesecloth, and I double mine up so that it actually is really small holes. And the easiest thing to do is to take a Tupperware container. Depending on how much you've just cooked, that's the size Tupperware container you need, obviously.
Right.
Rubber band the cheesecloth on the top of it. Don't make it super tight, but just, you want to make sure that it's not going to fall in, but it's not going to let everything run off the top.
Right.
And then just slowly pour into the Tupperware container.
And
right?
It strains it all out.
It strains it out. And then as soon as you get everything poured, you're going to take the rubber band off, take the cheesecloth, and squeeze it as hard as you possibly can.
If you had
over
one of those,
and over.
If you had one of those old school ringers, would that work? Like for clothes, or is that not small enough?
That might work.
Because that's pretty thin.
The problem you might run into
Getting all
is
sticky.
making a really icky mess.
Gunking up the gully works.
So I usually just recommend squeezing and squeezing until you cannot squeeze anything else out of it. And then all you have to do is just pop the lid on it, put it in the fridge, and leave it. As soon as it hardens, you'll have the butter on the top and the water on the bottom. Just pull the water or the butter out of there, dump the water out, and then you're good to go. You can cook with it. You can also use a crock pot. That's another method of cooking.
Ed Bland says nylons.
Yep, nylons can work too.
It's probably the same as like making your first pop filter. When you start a podcast and you're broke as F and you need it. You want that pop filter sound, but you can't afford it, so you take the clothes hanger and the pantyhose and you make it all. And
Well, and I mean, honestly, anybody.
that's how we're gonna fix these eventually. We're never gonna buy new ones. We'll just keep like using them over. It's gross.
If everybody you talk to will have a different method of making butter or even cooking their edibles. So it's a lot like growing. You know, talk to a bunch of different people, take all the different ideas, what you like, and see what you can do with it. You know, like I said, what I was just explaining is just a really simple, easy way to start it out for anybody at home. You can use a crock pot, like I said, that you just want to keep a little bit closer eye on because I think they tend to get a little bit warmer than a stovetop.
Right.
Depending on your settings, of course. But you just want to make sure you're not burning or letting it heat up too much in one spot. You want to keep trying to stir it once in a while and keep it moving.
Right.
And the longer you let it cook, too, the more thick and tarry it may end up becoming, and the greener it's going to be.
Is that better? Like, do you try and shoot for certain consistencies depending on what the final use scenario is, or?
Well, yeah, it kind of depends on what you're going to be using it for.
Okay.
And also as a side note, the matter in the cheesecloth, what's left, it's not good for anything really.
It's
so
waste, like
pretty much,
true
yes.
Complete waste.
If you've done it right, you should have cooked most of the THC into the butter, and you shouldn't have it, you know, chilling in the buds that much.
Right. You should. Hopefully.
So, yeah, you know.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's just
See?
a quick little
You learned
walk
something.
through.
There you go.
And, you know, and the smell, depending on, you know, who you are. Sometimes the smell can be a little much.
Pretty intense? Is it would you
it's
describe
a different
it
kind of a smell.
as a musky an intense musk eau de la cannabis?
It doesn't smell like you're smoking it.
Right. Does it probably doesn't taste that way either if you were to just like you have to use this in something. You can't just eat the butter, right? Do people do that? Do you know that?
It depends, because I know
feel dumb
some
telling
people,
you all that.
Well, I know some people who love that taste. Like, they think that it's an acquired taste.
Sure.
You know? And so I know some people who will just slap it on bread and eat it, and they're fine. I know other people who really want to mask it. So that's when you get into the whole, you know, different kinds of spices and things like that to help cover the taste. So, yeah.
Well, sweet.
Yeah, so just a
and
little...
you can make brownies and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah, you can make virtually anything as long as it's not cooked at too high of a temperature.
So you can make brownies and send them off to like a Massachusetts high school and shut down a whole prom because people are eating pot-laced brownies and getting sick.
Holy cow.
What happened here? Massachusetts, what is going on? North Andover, are you kidding me? Marijuana... I love this. Marijuana brownies put a premature end to the junior prom at one Massachusetts high school. Hold on. The dance for students of North Andover High was shut down early Friday night after 4 students were hospitalized because they ate the pot-laced brownies before attending the prom. As many as 11 students consumed the baked goods at the school before going to the prom itself. The brownies were handed out by another student. Is that curious that 12 ate them, or what, 11 ate them all together and only 4 got sick?
I've seen people eat stuff and one person get sick and one person not. It's how your body is, you know.
I would be curious to see if there was any pre-existing medical, mental... physiological conditions,
you know, honestly,
in the 4 that got, you know.
They probably got high And they probably didn't know what to do.
A couple of them freaked out because honestly, eating it, that is a different high.
It is. It can be
It's a very
little more intense.
yeah, and
if you're not used
way
to
more body focused
Mm-hmm.
than just like I'm so high.
And I've eaten stuff before that made me feel kind
make
of
you dizzy.
and
Yeah,
sick,
for
you
sure.
know. But I knew
You're not
that
gonna die from it
right.
though at all.
No, I've thought I was dying from other drugs before, and it didn't feel anything like that.
They shut the prom down. Like, oh my God, we don't want this spreading to everyone. This madness, this space madness.
Insanity.
In the course of the investigation, it was determined that 19 brownies had apparently, man, one more, 4, sick, 20 brownies, huh? Numbers? 23? Huh? All right. Had been apparently distributed by a student earlier before arriving for the evening at the high school. The prom was held at the Atkinson Country Club, in South New Hampshire. Classy. All 4 of the students that went to the hospital were sent home. The hospital's like, are you effing kidding me? Go home, sleep it off, you pussy.
Have you ever heard that
Come
911 call from
yes,
the officer?
from the yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yes.
I think we're dying. Time is going so
I just
slow.
killed time. Wow. No, you didn't. It's okay. It's gonna be all right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just get this BS out of the way. Montana, what do we know?
Oh.
We're basically waiting. The governor has the bills.
Yeah.
BS 1 and BS 2.
Well, we know
Christ.
that 161 probably hit his desk today. So as soon as it's signed, if he signs it and doesn't veto it, July 1st, it's repealed here.
And we also know that everyone should be calling 406-444-3111 to vote veto on House Bill 161 and 423.
Yes.
Thank you, Ryan from Big Sky Health. Just texting them out. If you have a phone, text that to everyone you know. Facebook it, Twitter it, Tumble it, Poster us it, Pick Please it, color it. I don't care. Do it all. Get it out there. Spread it. We cannot. Listen. Do you remember? Let me take you back for a moment. Do you remember making a phone call and meeting in a parking lot and paying $50 regardless of what kind of pot you were getting? Do you want that?
Boo!
Do you remember that? I remember that.
I remember that.
Not fun, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want that again?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want
That's
beautiful,
what they're moving us
elaborate,
towards.
scientific, to use that term, grow ops to condense back down into shady, in your closet, probably has bugs? Nobody wants that. Why are you doing this? Let's hope the
Because
governor has his.
Greed.
Yeah.
Greed.
Disgusting.
It is. And so now what we're doing is we are...
Yeah, Jimmy One says this is no time to sit back and be quiet. This is about our rights.
Right. So when I say we're sitting
Get it
back
done.
and waiting, I don't mean we're all just sitting around twiddling our thumbs hoping it goes well.
No,
we're
it's
still
the 10-day
fighting.
game.
We're just waiting to see what he's actually going to do. We don't know. We're hoping. We have these little silver linings of hope that get speckled out amongst the week when he does certain speeches and makes comments that let us maybe feel that sense of Montana again, that we are safe, we are citizens, and we will be protected, and that things that we vote in will stay until we vote them out. I mean, that's how it is.
Exactly.
And 420 Times actually kind of did an article about the fact that we are kind of waiting, and I really like how they ended the article. The last paragraph, they actually say, when the next election comes around in Montana, some serious house cleaning needs to be done.
Serious.
Every politician who voted for this repeal needs to lose their job.
Yes.
Regardless of their position on
Yes.
any other issue.
Yes.
After all,
You're
if
fired.
a politician doesn't care about sick people in their own state, does anything else they do really matter?
Exactly.
The end. That
End of
puts-
story. You're fired.
I think that puts it right there perfectly.
Done. Beautiful.
They already showed us how they care
They can't
about,
be trusted. They don't
No.
give a crap about us or our rights.
and they obviously don't care about sick people who are just looking for another. They're trying to treat themselves.
We're
That's
paying
all they're
you
doing.
for what? What have you done? Jobs?
They're
No.
scared, so
Economy?
we have to.
No.
You know,
Wrecked
lay
our
down.
school system? Sure. Wrecked our public. What's that place that lost a bunch of funding too?
Oh, the VA hospital,
the
and
clinics.
the library, and all the different clinics,
Check,
and the
check.
schools, and the
So
you name it, they've lost funding.
we paid you to basically just destroy everything that you came across.
You know what's really
Nice job, guys.
Yeah, you know what's
Is this
really
the
sad?
event? What do you?
The WIC program, right? The WIC program has been functioning for as long as I can remember. And now, if you go in there to get checks, WIC is for women, infants, and children. They give you a couple checks a month to help you get milk, cereal, you know, the basic necessities that
Right.
you may need. When you go in and get your checks now, they ask you to try and avoid getting everything on the check because of how tight their funding is. And you
Really?
have to get the cheapest thing possible. The
Like
cheapest.
Western, if there's a alternative, you have to go with.
The cheapest.
Really?
Yeah. Because their
That's-
funding is so minimal right now. It's hard for them to help all of the families they're trying to help.
So.
And so, I mean, all of that's happening, yet the focus has to be how evil marijuana is.
So you mean when dispensaries sell medicine a little cheaper if people bring in like cans of food and stuff and then give that, like, that was actually helping people
It was-
eat?
yeah,
that,
it was gonna
or
help
it
them.
could have.
Oh, and as another
Interesting.
side note, also, while we're speaking of shady politicians.
Oh, please. Please.
Today it was passed that you cannot register to vote the same day as election day.
Oh, really?
So
Is that
everybody
like a
needs,
huge problem? Like lines out the door because everyone's registering to vote?
Well, no,
Or is it lines out the door because you hire 90-year-old ladies to do that job?
It's
like,
a
really?
political game, is what it
Yeah,
is.
right.
I mean, they are hoping that people aren't going to register to vote, and then when they go to try and they realize they can't do it that day,
Mm-hmm.
then they're not going to get all of the votes for certain things that they were hoping. And so I think that, you know, the best course of action right now is for everybody to make sure that they have registered to vote. You don't want to get to
Done
the
and
next
done.
election and need to make an important decision but not be able
Right.
to because this step wasn't taken.
Because guess what? This time, it is stuff that we care about, and we do need to vote. Like, this does matter this time and last time.
Right.
Like,
And-
sometimes there isn't. There's nothing on the ballot that concerns the majority of us. So it's
there
just-
are certain things that, you know, you may not feel you need to make a say in, you know? I mean, if it's not affecting you, then I can understand that.
This
but-
affects you, trust.
Right. I mean,
This
there
affects you.
are things that need to be done. And if there are politicians in office that are not making good decisions, they
Yes.
need to be voted against.
And if you're listening to this definitely affects you.
Yes.
Trust.
Oh, yes. Even if
So-
you're not in Montana, because other states are watching Montana and it will spread
Right.
like wildfire if they think that one state got away with it.
Yeah. When we do Jamhole live shows, do you want to come here to a place that just sucks? No. You want to come to a nice, fun place.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them ruin our fun. Don't let them
Oh.
ruin our medicine. Don't let them ruin any of this.
They're gonna try those, so
Just
everybody needs to
trashing
stay
it.
on their game.
Just trashing it.
They take that away, go to register to vote immediately. You can start the process online. You can go to several different offices throughout your town to do it.
Montana Connect says if Montana repeals, others will follow.
And it's sad. Yeah.
That is sad.
There's a lot of states that are watching, and they're
This
like,
affects
ooh, if
you,
they
for
can
real.
do it, then we can do it too, because it's not just us. We're not the first one doing it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks and it's scary, and I hope that doesn't
For real.
happen.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody needs to be making phone calls, writing letters. You need to keep working on it. Just because it's going to go to the governor's desk doesn't mean it's over.
That's right. He needs to have a Gomer pile of
Mm-hmm.
calls and emails and letters. Write them There are easy tools online to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do it.
Extremely easy.
Do it. This is important. And if you don't, things are going to go south in a bad way.
Unfortunately.
And we don't want to see that. This is an amazing place to live, and we can't let the greed of a few in control who have been completely corrupted, blue screen of death, crashing and burning. We can't let them ruin it for everybody. So
Nope.
if you're doing this, you're fired for real.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's move on to our neighbors here to the left in Washington. We were talking about how they were having a marijuana legalization bill, a decrim bill. It was HB 1550, and unfortunately, it has died officially for at least this legislative session in the capital of Olympia. This is off the 420 Times. This was the marijuana legalization bill that was favored by not only every Seattle legislator, but also the mayor, the city attorney, and several council members.
And it still didn't make it?
It died. It says, but things aren't over for the year in Washington state. Voters can still have a say in the issue. Sponsors of a measure that would legalize marijuana use by people 18 and older are collecting signatures to try and get an initiative before the people this fall. To qualify for the November ballot, initiative sponsors need to get the signatures of more than 241,000 registered voters by July 8th. That's in a few months.
Yeah.
Last year, a similar effort fell short by about 50,000 signatures. So if you were like, they'll have enough. No, they didn't. Get that done, Washington. And the people should go to sensiblewashington.org and do what they can to help the petition drive. Be sure to share this story with all your friends, of course. It's a lot of signatures, they say, and the volunteers need all the help that everyone, 420 Times, Hot Box, Normal, all of us, kicking it down. That was written by Joe Clare, so thank you for that.
Yup.
All the comments, of course, just... wow, I can't wait for this generation of old people who've been brainwashed by the government to die out. As terrible as that sounds, our country can't accomplish anything in this economy. Tax, weed, funds, schools. Huh, that sounds familiar. Weed could bring us out of this recession. Well, just look at the prohibition of alcohol. History tends to repeat itself. It's just a matter of time. Tick, tock, tick, tock. So.
It is sad how...
get it done, Washington.
It is sad how it's like hitting a brick wall when you're trying to talk to some of the people that are in government right now.
Yeah.
They're
you live there?
They're just so close-minded to everything.
Do you live there? Call us, 406-204-4687 if you're listening live right now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you angry?
Please.
I'm angry, and I don't even live there. I have friends that live there.
Well,
if Washington could just get it done and show that, look, Washington is still there, it hasn't blown itself up, then I think other states will follow.
California.
Free your mind.
They haven't died yet.
And your butt will follow?
Something.
So, moving on, what do you got for us?
On a little bit of
next?
happier note.
Oh, please.
Also from 420 Times.
Sure.
Medical marijuana is advancing in Connecticut. So.
Get some Connecticut.
Yes.
Proud of you.
Delaware and Connecticut in the last week.
Proud of you.
So
Look at that.
Medical marijuana moved a step closer to legalization in Connecticut today by winning easy approval in a key committee. The bill in question would allow patients with chronic diseases to grow up to 4 plants for personal use. An amendment that would have shifted the growing of the medicine to the University of New Haven and the sale of the medicine to state pharmacies was defeated in the Democrat-controlled Judiciary Committee. The bill now has to pass a few more committee hurdles before going on to full votes in the state House and Senate. Medical marijuana continues to make its inexorable march across the nation despite the events in Montana. Patients in every state deserve protection
Kick
for
us
the
while
law
we're down. Why don't
when
you?
it comes to medical cannabis use. It may seem daunting sometimes to keep up to date on all the events going on across the country, but that's what we are here for.
Is here for.
Right. So Connecticut is at least moving forward, and hopefully they forget Montana exists for a little bit so they don't get held up.
Right.
And then
that
maybe
would
I
be,
can move there.
That you're right. Gonna have to find someplace else. If you guys completely ruin Montana for me, that's just, I mean.
It's gonna be sad.
What else? What else can you do? I don't know of any other way around it. So, and then I guess everyone is talking about how, you can tax it, massive amounts of money to be made. I think we've talked about a long time ago, maybe on the other show, about how there was a study done and marijuana was beating California's #1 and #2 top cash crop by like millions of dollars. Like a ridiculous, it was like doubled or whatever. It was ridiculous.
It's insane.
And so this is out of the Seattle Times, in the letters to the editor section, about how marijuana legalization, not just for generating revenue. And I just from the headline, like, I would think that if the government was going to do it, the only reason they would do it, and I'm just saying this because of how corrupt and greed-driven our government is for the generated revenue.
The reason why hemp is not as widely used as it is because it would cut into that revenue.
Rock Bottom Approach says, first state to make it legal gets a huge hike in population.
And tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decriminalization acknowledges the social reality of marijuana and frees users from criminal records. What's really needed is a regulated market with age controls. Separating the hard and soft drug markets is critical. As long as criminals control marijuana distribution, consumers will come into contact with sellers of hard drugs like cocaine and the heroin.
So do we have a system in place that controls the sale of something
Salvia?
to people within a certain age group?
Bath salts? No. Porn stores? Nitrous? No.
I think, hasn't alcohol been regulated that way for a little while?
I didn't even think of that because I don't drink.
Yeah, I don't drink either, but
That's
I'm pretty sure you have to be 21.
Is it 21?
And from what I remember when I was in high school, it was actually a pretty complicated endeavor to try to get alcohol.
Yeah, you had to find like homeless bums, and then there was always the chance you were going to get A, raped, B, stabbed, or C, both,
Well, and then you never knew if they were going to actually come back with anything.
Yeah.
Or if you were going to end up busted.
Like in the bathroom, out the back door. Yeah. That's fun. Hey, while I'm in here buying your booze, did you know I also sell crack cocaine and heroin? Come here, little buddy.
No, I mean, come on. We've got a system in place.
Yeah. This gateway is a direct result of marijuana prohibition. Marijuana law reform may send the wrong message to children, but I like to think the children are more important than the message. And that was written by Robert Sharp, policy analyst for Common Sense for Drug Policy, WADC. And then a gentleman from South Australia, Max Haley.
Do you think he's really from
He
there?
says, legalize marijuana? Think first. The growing and possession of marijuana for personal use only has been allowed by partial legalization of marijuana in the state of South Australia. This has now resulted in South Australia becoming Australia's major center for the illegal commercial growing and export of marijuana to other Australian states. Large tonnages of marijuana grown in South Australia are taken for sale in other states. Drug-related gang warfare, assaults, and murders have proliferated.
Really?
South Australia is now a mecca for organized general crime activity.
I haven't seen that in the news at
It's
all.
now a mecca? You mean South Australia hasn't always been a shithole? Good eye. The drug environment created has also provided a platform for the drug labs. What's that? Like meth labs.
Like, meth isn't
Silly ass
marijuana.
science. And the import and distribution of other illegal drugs. Our judicial system, police force, and our medical services have been adversely affected. Note that marijuana also causes lung cancer.
Oh, okay, you're
Has
full
it?
of shit right
Has
there,
it?
so I know the whole
I'm
letter's
sorry.
just bupkis.
You just completely negated any, if at all, anything you said.
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
believe anything you say now.
That's cabbage. So, I just thought I'd share that with you.
Oh, sad silly
Marijuana
man.
labs. Rock bottom. He says, yeah, we call that place Mexico around here. Oh, our fans are so awesome.
Oh, funny.
Our fans and friends. You should
Yay.
go to Missoula, Rock Bottom, and we'll hang out. We'll puff medicine together. All right, so, moving on. Do you want to... Let's do this. This is a pretty interesting
Oh, yeah, the place suing
story.
the place.
Out of Colorado. Listen up. I just listen. This is pretty phenomenal. I'm gonna say. Pretty phenomenal. I'm gonna say.
Is it working?
This is pretty phenomenal.
So on a side
I'm gonna
note-
say. Oh, I hate you, technology. Really? It was pretty phenomenal.
You work on that. Quickly, I'm going to discuss a very unusual way to try to transport Mexican dirtweed.
Oh, please.
So,
On the bottom of my boot, stuck to a bunch of horse shit.
authorities say a 19-year-old man pretending to be disabled was caught at the U.S.-Mexico border with 5 pounds of marijuana hidden under the seat of his wheelchair. Was he just trying to ride it across the border?
Like a cowboy.
Like just motorized,
just riding
full
pot.
force, forward, 5 miles an
Just
hour.
getting some.
Oh, sad.
Like a cowboy.
Border officers at the San Ysidro port of entry say Dante Jone Damas crossed into the United States in a wheelchair on March 28th looking nervous after a search agents discovered 3 packages of marijuana under the seat. U.S. Customs and Border Protection seized the wheelchair and drugs and turned Damas over to U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement agents. ICE spokeswoman Lauren Mack says the suspect admitted that he wasn't disabled and that he used the wheelchair as a ploy to smuggle the drugs. Damas is being held at a
Hold
San
on.
Diego
Is it
jail.
pronounced
I don't know.
dumbass?
No.
I think it's French.
No, there's no you.
Okay. Sorry.
So, yeah,
Huh.
wheelchair, scooting it across the border, not a very
Just
good idea.
massive
And
amounts of.
shame on you for pretending to be disabled also, by the way.
Yeah, right?
That is low.
And shame on you for being an idiot and going across the border to get something that you could have gotten probably where you live. So, all right. Alpine Bank suing a business, let's just say, with a similar name, Wanky Wank.
Alpine Bank is suing a dispensary because their name is too close for comfort.
The dispensary is called Alpine Dank.
Can we, in the new bill, can we write in, you can't open up near schools and you can't name your thing stupid stuff like Alpine Dank, okay? I'm gonna side with the bank on this one, just out of principle.
Similar logo, but instead of a pine tree, they have a pot leaf.
Oh, so clever.
The bank asked the dispensary to change the logo, but they wouldn't do it.
Why are you being a dick? They're like, no, we're gonna. I don't know. Maybe that's. I mean, why bank? Like, does it matter? Like, are you losing customers, really?
Well,
I would bank at a place that rhymed with the place that I get my pot from. I mean, right? What's your deal?
Alpine is now filing suit, hoping to ultimately get the dispensary to change its name. The bank says no matter what the business is, any name similar to theirs will only hurt their reputation.
No, will it really? Really? I'm pretty sure in this case it helped. I'm just saying. What a bunch of babies.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
At all.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is this where I buy my pot from? Oh, no, this is the bank. Oh, my mistake. Can I open up an account? And yeah, Rock Bottom says, what, they own the name Alpine? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they didn't go through and get like a patent on Alpine Bank, Alpine Dank, Alpine Gang,
Yeah.
Alpine
Like,
Plank, Alpine...
Are you squatting URLs? Like, that's a dick thing to do. How about Alpine Dick? Can I have that? And instead of a pot leaf, yeah, it's a picture of a...
Yank.
There it is. Alpine Yank. Or Alpine Spank while we're at it. Alpine Drank. You could have like your beer, your root beer, your can of beer called Alpine Drank.
Rock Bottom says they should probably just sell weed at the bank. Probably wouldn't need to be bailed out next year.
True that. And they have like a safe, right? I mean, there you go. Ed Bland says, I worked at Alpine Log Homes. Alpine Lank? I don't know. Kelk says, maybe if they were selling dirt weed, I could do that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't read random. So, do we have time to talk about a gentleman who goes by the name of Gary Johnson? If you live in New Mexico, his name may be familiar to you.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to be labeled, and rightly so, the pot candidate.
And we need one.
We do need one. Couldn't we have called him the cannabinidate or something?
The cannabis candidate.
The cannabate? Wait, the candidate.
No, that doesn't sound right.
No, wait, it's there. Just call him the candidate.
Add an N.
Add an N. Candidate.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's going to be a presidential hopeful, Gary Johnson. He knows his support for legalizing marijuana will be used against him by opponents of his quest for the GOP presidential nomination. You know what, though? What are you afraid of? What are they going to do?
We're the majority, dude. It's all good.
Yeah, we got your back. Rock Bottom says cannabate. Yeah, medical cannabate. The libertarian-leaning former governor of New Mexico will announce his candidacy. For the Republican presidential nomination on April 21st.
In New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, absolutely. Before delivering the keynote speech at the High Times Cannabis Cup in Denver, Colorado.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. He said he is prepared to be attacked on the pot issue. Like, what are they going to do, though? Like, you're a pothead, you're dumb. Let's debate then. Essay, bring it.
Yeah.
I will serve you.
Well, we have a president right
place.
now who openly admitted that he smoked. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's like at this point.
Seriously, it's not that big of a deal, I don't think. But I do know people who see it as a big deal.
Have you seen who's in the White House right now? Some people thought that was a big deal. How many jokes were like, he ain't gonna make it past his first day, here, because we'll kill him, here, because we're racist, here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing happened. Shut up.
But I think that the thing that may work against him, though, is the big sect of people that are scared of the possibility of marijuana decriminalization, legalization, or
But are there more? That's the question then. Is there more support for it or against it? Because it is pretty close.
They have the money, though.
We just have to sell more pot then.
And there's a lot of them in office right now. We
No,
need
I
to
know.
change up some stuff, and then maybe there will be a little more support.
I just don't, like, they make it out like, oh, they're going to attack you on this. Like, you smoke pot. You're the devil. Like, you're an idiot, first of all. Quote, I just want you to know I caught a lot of flack on this as governor, and I more than survived. I've debated this issue more than any politician on the planet, and this is an issue that, under the light of day, does really well. especially if you're well educated. Like, you
Yeah.
can serve up anybody's ass and put them in their place legitimately, scientifically, factually, evidence-based. Like, this
And
is...
You want to make sure you actually know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And it sounds like he does, and that's awesome, because anything they say is going to be either A, based on a lie, B, based on fear, or C, just completely ridiculous to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And you respond with well put together, well thought out answers that are actually based in the reality that we are all living in, and not the made up one that some of these other people are living in. And there you go.
Mm-hmm.
You think I would be... The only thing I would worry about, and not to make this too political, but is he may be like all awesome and cool on the pot scene, but he may be completely like backwards on a bunch of other random stuff too. So you can't vote on someone based on one issue. Like, hopefully we can have the pot issue, and he'll be, because of that, well-minded on everything else. But who knows? We won't know until,
Yeah, we've got to make
he's out there.
sure that,
But so far, so good, for sure.
Yeah,
Better than anything so
yeah,
far.
Yeah.
He says, I wanted to crack down on drinking and driving in New Mexico. I had conversations with law enforcement, the courts, and the prisons. Basically, all three said, we're so busy, our dockets are so full, that if you want to have this kind of initiative, you better give us some more money, more resources. Give us more money! He says that half of the time and resources of state and local law enforcement, courts, and prisons are being spent on drug-related crime. To him, it looked like just another failed government policy throwing more and more money at the problem with little to show for it. Is there anything to show for it? You have the people that are scared, and the people that are scared into not touching it.
Word.
And that's no way to live. Come on. He says people who have sold small amounts of drugs, which is actually still the majority of those behind bars, they've been caught, and they've done it numerous times and been caught, and now they're there on mandatory sentencing. Johnson views that as government waste, which he believes conservatives should be against. Quote, why is it for Republicans that government messes up when it comes to all sorts of regulation and the economy, but they have it right when it comes to ... drugs? The government has completely messed this up. From a conservative standpoint, A through Z, how can you not support the notion of a rational drug policy? When asked if he smoked marijuana in his youth and if he inhaled, the former governor, really? You didn't inhale? Shut up. You're fired, too. Just for being an idiot. For lying about something so stupid. Then what did you do? Swish it around your mouth and spit it out like a good whore? Like, shut up. Why would you?
That was horrible.
I'm sorry. Like, what? I'm sorry. Take that back. But seriously, like, you didn't really? Okay. Neither did Monica. Ugh. So he says, yes, I did. Yeah, I have a very public record. Unhesitatingly. Hello.
Good.
In fact, he has previously admitted using marijuana for medical purposes between 2005 and 2008. He says a caregiver gave it to him for pain he suffered as a result of a paragliding accident in which he broke several bones, including one of his vertebrae. Medical marijuana was not legalized in New Mexico until 2007. Excuse me. Quote, I haven't had a drink of alcohol in 24 years. High five.
Word.
But having smoked marijuana and having drunk alcohol, there's a big difference between the two. And the difference is, are you ready? Everyone listening? Ready?
Attention.
The difference is that marijuana is a lot safer than alcohol. Just like our friends over at saferchoice.org said. Is this safer? It just doesn't have the negative behavioral consequences, that alcohol does. And it will never be legal to smoke pot and become impaired and do harm to others. It'll never be legal to smoke pot and commit crime just like alcohol.
Word. And that's something that a lot of people need to remember.
Yeah.
That just because
Think about
marijuana is there doesn't mean that it's a free ride for people to commit crimes. No.
But you don't get it. I was stoned.
Whatever. I don't believe that.
Okay,
for a
hold on.
minute.
You don't get it, though. God told me to do it.
It's just
like, you're going to jail either way, so shut up.
I mean, it's stupidity. If it is here, it doesn't mean that it's going to allow people to do things now that they're not going to get in trouble for.
And we've covered it before. The law was based on racism and lies.
Yes.
That's
Bigotry
it.
at its finest.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
Read up on Anslinger.
Listen.
a-hole.
Go back and listen to our back catalog, which we are getting quite the large amount of. I kind of like that.
We've almost been doing this for a year. Do you realize that?
I am realizing
Next
that.
month
That's
will
awesome.
be a year.
That's so awesome. Hotboxpodcast.com. You can go back and listen to all 72 after tonight's episode.
Yes.
And listen to them. They're free. They're there. They're all at least an hour. They're all us just being awesome and telling it like it is. And that's just how we do it here.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Yeah, Montana Connect. Black guys taking all the white chicks.
Yeah, like, shut us. Really? I'm sure. Stop trying to marry every time you want to have sex with one, and maybe they wouldn't go to the other guys. Just saying.
You can't
White
blame
guys were
pot
weird
for
back
something
then.
like that.
In the 20s?
I've never.
White guys were weird in the 20s.
I know, but I have never sat there and looked at a guy and been like, "Ooh, he smokes pot. Okay, then
Yeah.
I'll go with him."
Rock Bomb says white chicks love the weed.
No, we just love a guy that will sit there and listen, and usually a
Right.
stoned guy will sit there
Right.
forever
That's
and
so
listen.
awesome. Yeah. In the hopes that you'll either cook him something or tell him another story at the end. So this guy, to wrap this up, the presidential hopeful also sees the failure of the war on drugs as the cause of most of the violence on America's southern border. Amen.
Word.
You want to address this, legalize marijuana. Boom. Done and done. Start with legalizing marijuana. Arguably 75% of the violence along the border with Mexico goes away.
Nobody's going to want Mexican dirt weed if we can get our own good stuff here.
Duh.
It's going to stop getting brought up here. They're going to overflow with it down there. They're going to have anywhere to put it.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start shipping that stuff to Finland.
And you know what else that does? Raises cocaine and heroin prices because that's all they're selling. They got to make the most out of it.
Well, then how are people going to afford that?
Oh my God. We'll just smoke pot.
Wow.
Amazing.
We just solved a whole lot of issues right there.
Yeah, you're
in like 30
welcome.
seconds.
Oh, and look at all this extra money we have.
Ooh.
Keok does have a point, though. He says, thank God for Canada. For real.
Yeah, I might try moving there.
So if you're listening to this on normal, thank you.
Thank you.
Join us, hotboxpodcast.com. You can watch us do it live in our cameras every Tuesday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. Of course, check out marijuanapodcast.com. There's a lot of good shows on there. And the normal network. So, hey, tell your friends. Facebook.com/hotboxpodcast. Do it. And donate. Help keep the show going. We pay for this out of our own time and money.
Yes,
all of
we
you.
do.
$5. You got your taxes back? $5. Do it. Just make that happen, would you? So, for our listeners, let's talk about Florida. This is interesting. We're gonna wrap it up with this this story here, but this is Spring Hill, Florida. Okay, there was a drug raid there. Go figure. Florida, not medical. Pretty. I wouldn't say zero tolerance, but not very tolerant. You know, not very tolerant. Florida is to marijuana as Alabama is to gay people.
Yeah, Florida
gay
doesn't...
atheist, as
Florida
I like to call them.
like people.
Gaytheists. They don't like them at all. So, they had a drug raid Tuesday. Authorities say that they found a 2-year-old special needs child in the same room where people were growing marijuana. Now...
Was he being beat in the room?
I don't. I was thinking maybe it was food for the marijuana plants because marijuana eats children, and maybe special needs children would taste better. I don't know. This is all speculation, but like I always have a hard time with it when they like you say that like did a light fall on his head and kill him? Or no, you just rolled in there with guns, everyone on the ground, and he like freaked out because he's a 2-year-old special needs child. If you didn't do that, he was just fine probably where he was at.
And I mean,
That's
I
so
understand on one side of it that, you know, okay, it's an illegal drug and they should be thinking about their child and not have him in that environment.
Right.
But
especially if there's no medical there, like we said.
If they went into a room and found a bunch of tomato plants with a 2-year-old special needs child sitting in there, what would they do?
They would raid them, steal all their stuff, and then never press charges, right?
I just think
that's about the gist of it, right?
That's about the gist of it, but it's all stupid.
So, well, I mean, I guess that's how it goes, right? I just thought that was like really that 28-year-old Prentice Isaac Taylor, Amber Janae, 23, I don't even know how to pronounce that, 19, were each arrested, charged with multiple felonies, $36,000 bail, $5,500 bail, and no bail. Officers had a warrant, came in, attached bathroom with dirt on his hands. Deputies took him into custody. In the bathroom, authorities said they located dirt in the toilet bowl. Dirt or poo? Investigators then searched the bedroom, and they said discovered a green storage container equipped with reflective material, lighting, a fan, and 5 small pots that appeared to be recently disturbed. The report stated that leaves found at the scene tested positive for marijuana, and 2 bags filled with the drug were found in the room. Deputies also found cocaine residue on a scale in the kitchen. And see, that's what happens. You have the drugs together because they're all illegal. And the kid was there. They found him. Marijuana was in bags, in joints. So took him away. And that's sad for the kid to grow up now.
Yep.
No good. Maybe we can just legalize it, not even have to worry about it. Never have to worry about it again. And that's that.
That would just be
and
too
that's
easy.
That. So, anything else? Oh, real quick, this just came in. Denver, Colorado. Growbot was stolen from a medical marijuana trade show over the weekend. There's a $5,000 reward. Greg Childre, who builds custom trailers for a variety of crops at his Georgia manufacturing plant, said the trailer was stolen from the High Times Medical Cannabis Cup. The 28-foot-long Growbot trailer was driven out of the trade show parking lot in full view of security guards. Parking lot surveillance captured the crime but did not detect the license plates of the Dodge truck that hitched up the trailer and said, "Peace out." It was computerized, stocked with grow lights and security devices. Anything you need to grow in a controlled environment, it has all the bells and whistles. I want a Growbot trailer. Childress said he builds the trailers for other crops, including mushrooms and blueberries. Ooh, I want 2. I want one for marijuana and I want one for mushrooms. That would be amazing. And then I want one for a podcast studio. And then we hit the road. And maybe one more for like a full-on kitchen. We can stick Dana in there and have her cook food all day. God, that'd be awesome. The trailer is valued
That's a pretty big caravan.
Valued at hotboxpodcast.com/donate. Valued at $50,000. That's right.
Holy cow.
And there was no marijuana inside the vehicle. So there you go. There you go.
Rock Bottom Approach says, real quick, Michigan sucks.
No, yeah, I was actually looking for a Michigan story just for you, and there wasn't one. So, sorry. I did try. So, all right. Well, is that going to do it for
I
us?
believe that will do it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. Every Tuesday, Saturday, hotboxpodcast.com/live, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 Eastern. You can leave us a message if you didn't have a time to call in, or if you're listening to this in your car. Just bring up that dialer. Put in this number, 406-204-4687. And just leave a message, and we'll play it.
And then the next time you listen to the show, you'll hear yourself.
There you go. Call from the future. Shit.
Ooh.
Email info@hotboxpodcast.com. There's forums at /forums, hotboxpodcast.com/forums. Check out the 30-minute documentary about the raids, the protests, Kalispell, Missoula, youtube.com/hotboxpodcast. Follow the Twitter, Facebook group, or page, whatever we're using now.
The thing on Facebook.
That thing that's up there. And we'll see you Saturday at the Garden City Expo. So join us there. We're going to do a show. We're going to stream live. There's a group for that, an event on Facebook. So you can just search Garden City Expo. It's there. And come join the forums and hang out with us. /forums. And yeah, we'll see you guys Saturday in Missoula, from Missoula, live. We're doing an actual show that'll be live on the internet.
We'll probably be on throughout the day and
randomly. Just follow the Twitter and the Facebook, and I'll update that stuff. And you can follow twitter.com/thejamhole. That's my Twitter.
Yeah, because I mean, if we can talk to certain people and they can't like meet with us, we'll probably just try to interview them right then and there.
Yeah. And then we'll definitely have everything to put together into videos and stuff, more like what we did with the documentary thing. That thing's 30 minutes of just awesomeness. So we'll be we'll try and put together stuff like that, so we have content, because it's the more that's up there, and it's up there forever, and people can look at it and learn.
Yeah.
Always. So.
Educate them.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Matt.
We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.